I know that you've been tempted to use Google Translate or other translation skills as an English learner, but I'm here to tell you that that is not a good decision. Sure, once in a while using a translation tool can be great for single words, but when it comes to idioms and natural phrases, the translator will never get you to the correct phrase that you need. Also, especially if you're writing, you need to make sure that you don't use a translator because it won't pick up the tone of your message. So if you're trying to be friendly and polite, the translator will typically be very blunt and very literal, and it might come off as rude in writing. Translators aren't a perfect solution, so in today's video, I'm going to teach you about some errors that you can avoid making by not using a translator, and I'll educate you on why you need to change these errors, especially when you're writing in English. Let's get started with the lesson. He likes to drink soda, but I don't really like to drink soda. He likes to drink soda, but for me, not so much. Like I said before, translators are notoriously awful at picking up the tone of your message that you're trying to communicate in English. So if you're trying to say that you don't like something and you're trying to be polite, you're not trying to be mean or harsh about it, a good phrase to use is not so much. So you could say, my friend likes to drink soda, but for me, not so much. This would be a very mild, polite way to say that you don't like to do something. Or if someone says, do you like to stay up late at night? You could say, not so much. This means I don't prefer it. So it comes off as very natural and very polite to say, not so much, instead of saying, I just don't like it. Now, this phrase is definitely more casual, so make sure you're using it in your spoken English in a casual conversation, but not in a formal conversation. And would you reply me your schedule for Monday? And would you reply back to me with your schedule for Monday? One phrase that is very formal is reply to me or reply back to me. Now, this isn't always necessary to say in an email, but here are some alternative phrases. And I want you to make sure that you never use reply me because that is completely incorrect. And I get a lot of emails that say, can you reply me back? Or can you just reply me? This is incorrect. You need to say reply to me or reply back to me. But here are some great alternatives. You can say, please let me know or let me know. Or you can say respond at your earliest convenience, especially if it's in a formal email. This comes off better than just saying reply to me. Reply to me is used more as a command, and it's very harsh to say. So try saying respond back or could you please respond? Thank you so much for your teaching. When you use a translation tool, it will tell you to say, if you're saying in your first language, typically, thank you so much for your teaching. It will say exactly that. Now, that's not a very natural phrase in English. It's not how a native English speaker would say it. So it sounds just a little bit awkward, even though it's not completely incorrect. So instead of saying, thank you so much for your teaching, or thank you so much for your working, or thank you so much for your helping, I want you to use these phrases instead because they come off way more natural and they just sound better. Thanks for your help. Thanks for your work. Thank you for your efforts. Or two really great phrases, especially in an email or written form, is I appreciate your help or I appreciate your time. And get specific when you're thanking someone or showing gratitude as well. A good phrase is, I want to express my gratitude to you. This means I want to thank you. So you could say, I want to express my gratitude to you for teaching me these English phrases. Or if you're in a work or business setting, you could say, I want to express my gratitude to you for all your work on getting this deal completed. This is a very nice informal way to say thank you. Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm living in New York. Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm from New York. So Google Translate might tell you to say, I'm living in New York, or I'm living in whatever place. But in native English, we don't say I'm living in unless we're just talking about something temporary. We usually say I'm from New York or I'm from the United States. Now, even if you're not originally from the United States, if you've been living there for a long time, you could use this in English. I'm from the United States. but I immigrated from whatever country. So when you want to talk about the place that you live, you'll actually say, I'm from New York. And if you want to say that you're living somewhere temporarily, you can say, I'm living in New York right now. This means you plan on moving pretty soon in the future. One way that you can rephrase this to sound more natural and fluent is to say, I'm from Japan originally. Make sure you add that word originally to mean that you were born there, you grew up there, you lived there for many years, but now I live in the United States instead of saying I'm living in the United States. I know this gets a little bit confusing, but trust me, it sounds way more natural to say I live there. I live there right now. This implies too that you're planning on staying there and living there for a longer time. This is my car and this is another car. This is my car and this is my other car. Now here is another error that's very common amongst English learners, and if you use Google Translate, it will make this error actually a lot as well. If you want to say an other place, an other person, or an other thing, you need to say another in English. Now, another is not specific. So you could say, I want to go to another place. You're not being specific here. You might go to a coffee shop, you might go to a friend's house, you might go to a park. It doesn't matter when you say another. But if you have a place that you're thinking of, a specific place, you need to say other. I want to go to the other place. The other place, because you're being specific. So if you have two things that you're showing, I have this car and I have my other car too, you're being specific, but do not say another when you are referring to something that you know. You're being specific. You would not want to say, this is my car and this is another car. Then someone would be like, is that your car or not? Because they're confused, because another is not specific. So just remember to get this right. Other, specific, we know what we're talking about. Another, just something random, something we don't know specifically. It's nice to meet you. Me too. It's nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. In English, when someone says nice to meet you, do not reply with me too. You need to say nice to meet you too. Or you can say likewise. Or you can even say you too. This gets a little confusing, but trust me, in English, we don't say me too in response to when someone says nice to meet you. Because then you would be saying that it's nice to meet yourself too. If that makes sense, it's very confusing. Just say you too or nice to meet you as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this English lesson with me. I hope you learned some really important English tips that will help you avoid common errors that I see with my English students and common errors that Google Translate will make when you are using it as a tool. Make sure to check out some more English videos with me on screen next. I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Goodbye!